Hey y'all, Bearder Bros Golf Show back in the house. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
A little bit different scenery and also a different day today. Mother's Day. So shout out to all the mothers. Belated Mother's Day to you. Hope you had a great one and were celebrated. Um, so had to hop on the road for my 9 to 5. So that's just your reminder. Join our membership tiers so I can retire myself and then do this full time. Still got to go work a 9 to 5 and keep this channel going. So crazy busy week heading up to the PGA Championship. It's these major seasons are coming around, so fast these days. Now that we're going back to back in 4 consecutive months. How was your week, man?
It was good. It was good. I felt like I got a chance to play. Had been like a couple of weeks since I played. I played Gus Wortham on Monday, like beginning of May, and then hadn't had a chance to play until Friday before we played. So yeah, just running around with my head cut off at work, but it all works out. So yeah, had a relatively good week and a lot of good golf that was being played. So I was excited to watch and catch all of that. Yes, sir. How about you?
Yeah, opposite end of it. Got I think I'm trying to think if I played during the week last week, and I don't think I did. But
When did you play Golf
still
Club at
have.
Dallas?
Uh,
Was that the week
that
before?
was that was a day, Friday afternoon. So yeah, you're right.
Hmm.
Did get that in. Didn't play my best. I don't know. Like life's been so busy lately that just been playing really either distracted or interrupted. So, but
Yeah.
I still think that playing some of the best golf of my life. I ticked down point one on my handicap again after our round on Sunday. So I keep going in the
Amen.
in the right and still going in the right direction. So sitting at an 8.8 as of this morning in the recalculation. So I'm trying to get under five. I don't know how challenging that's going to be. I was able to lop off some big chunks earlier in the golfing season, so we'll continue to see how that progresses
Yeah.
going forward. So still working out this new driver situation. Um, let's hit some like soft stuff before we get into kind of heavy Rory. I was looking back when I was making the thumbnail for today's show, and just there were a lot of stories surrounding Rory McIlroy last year, but we really haven't touched on anything really of any significance with him this year. But this particular week, marking the 10th anniversary of his return to Valhalla, there are quite a few stories that involve him. So we're gonna do that. Let's hit the LPGA. So Rose Zhang dominates the field in the Cognizant Founders Cup this past weekend. Her and I want to say Madeline Sackstrom. Yeah. So
Hmm.
Rosang finishes at 24 under, Sackstrom at 22 under. The next closest competitor was at 9 under, and that was Gabriella Ruffles. What do you think about this separation from the field? That's pretty crazy. 15 strokes.
Yeah, I mean the girlies were out playing, and I felt like Sackstrom and Zhang really put on a show, and they brought the cream to the crop. I felt like it was honestly a good thing for Nelly because she didn't have to worry about the pressure of winning again. So that's out of the gate. So she just gets to have a regular season, and honestly, she's still gonna have a literally a legendary season. So um, I think Rose Zhang is undeniable, clearly, because I mean the back nine that she had on Sunday to come back and catch Spectrum was insane. I mean, I don't think she had a bogey. It was a bogey free 66. She went birdie birdie on the front, but then hit four birdies on the back. And I mean, it looked like she never really missed a shot. It honestly was all up to her putter. And then even then, she was hitting it so close, she didn't really even need to worry about that. Rolled in a birdie putt. She was like maybe a foot or two outside of Sackstrom on 18. So really, it was all on her shoulders the whole time on Sunday. So she just needed to make a putt. She made the putt. to go up two, and Sackstrom had already been on the green, so she can make eagle to catch her. So it was a really good time on Sunday. Unfortunately, it was really just having to search out the coverage, and it was
Yeah.
like because they had a lot of bad weather, unfortunately. Um, and so I guess they were just pushing up tee times and stuff like that the whole week or whatever. But I didn't really catch a lot that was like live. I mean, I was watching the replay a lot to catch the coverage,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
is what it is. We
It's
caught
a
golf
struggle.
and they were playing well. Yeah,
And they're gonna
again,
get they're
we'll
gonna
get
get
into that
covered
though.
up. They're gonna get it covered up again this week. They're going directly against the PGA Championship with the Mizuho women's this coming up Saturday, and Mizuho America's Open in New Jersey. So that's two back-to-back weeks in New Jersey. But again, they're
See?
going to have an open week again before their U.S. Open, which is the last week in May. Just bad planning. Everybody ultimately kind of avoids the Masters. There's no competing golf the week of the Masters. I don't know why you
Hmm.
wouldn't do that again with the PGA Championship, just to get as many eyes on your game as possible. But I would call that a miss, especially with. I'm pretty sure the week after the PGA can't be anything of note. I'm just gonna pull that up here just so I can get a good idea. But anyway, yeah, I think Rosang is going to be, in our consciousness in the women's game for a long time. This is her second win in 2 years. Next week, she'll be defending her initial win, her maiden win on the LPGA Tour. So, yeah, she's the next. Even Nelly, still finishing well back, still tied for seventh. Even though she wasn't necessarily competing, still in the top 10. So, kudos to her for the continued great season that she's having. I'm interested to see how she performs in this next major as well. So,
Yeah.
kudos to Rosang for doing her dang thing. Um, so that's all. Rory, we'll come back to that one. So, Brandel Chambly and Anthony Kim had a little bit of a Twitter spat earlier this week. Um, oh, hold on, real quick before I move on. I do want to get to that. So, Crystal, um, so I'm assuming you weren't able to make it out to the actual tournament. Was that weather, just schedule related? Um, I hope you're still gonna plan to attend this coming week. So, shout out to Crystal, um, who was attempting to make it out to the LPGA tournament last week. Um, but Brendel and Anthony Kim exchanged some really just man, it was gritty and grimy on the internet this past week. What'd you think of that interaction?
Um, well, if it's not golf related for Anthony Kim, I don't really care at this moment. I mean, we've already talked. I mean, I think I guess me and you have talked enough off camera to know like what's going on and everything like that. I think that's enough for me as far as Anthony Kim goes. He's just not moving the needle for me. But unfortunately, Brandon Chambly is just somebody that I try not to entertain at all. He's kind of like a Stephen A. Smith, the Skip Bayless guy. Like I just don't even want to like hear or see anything that they have to say. I mean, it's unfortunately I don't even want like I mean, if he's on Golf Channel, like if it's in the coverage, then I'll watch it. But like if it's like a pregame show or something like that, or a recap show or Golf Central, I'm turning it off. I don't have a lot of
It,
nice things to say about Brandon Chambly or Anthony Kim right now. Just
okay.
two guys searching for their shine still in life. So, hopefully they find it and good luck to them.
So that's a very common thought about Randall Chambly. What gets you stirred up about him as an analyst? What is your beef with him?
I mean, it's just he's another one of the guys that just thinks they're a know-it-all, and it's just a lot to be said since the only win you had was just a no-name event that you have one win on your career and stuff like that. Now, you know, I guess you might be a little bit more invested in this than me because you get paid to do it, but um, I really just think he talks out of the side of his mouth a lot. I mean, he just doesn't have a. I don't like that presence that he has. It's just really like a know-it-all, but not really knowing it all. And then
I don't know.
the interactions he's had is just like he thinks he's cooler than he really is. It's a lot of that, but that's
I
it's
think
neither here
his
nor there when it comes to actual
I
information.
I think his work ethic has been pretty well documented. That I know his opinions are strong, right? But I also am of the understanding that he puts a lot of, I guess, time and effort into his research that kind of informs his opinions, right? Because ultimately, there are generally, I mean, golf is very subjective, right? There's not many things about golf that are wholly objective that are defined 100% one way or the other. I'm kind of on the other side of the kind of eight ball with it when it comes to Randall Chambly. I'm not necessarily a fan, but I'm also not a hater. Like what he says doesn't has never really offended me. I felt like there were some things back in the day where he took some shots at Tiger that may have been unnecessary, but as it relates to necessarily his stance on live, I'm always somebody who if you can stand 10 toes down on whatever your thoughts and opinions are, cool, man. Like I'm down for it, right? If you can defend it with some level of facts, fine. I'm all for it. So, yeah, I'm not as big of a hater of Brendel Chambly as other people. I'm probably more neutral, which is probably not common. Um,
Yeah,
but that's just my thoughts on him. And they were arguing and going back and forth because Brendel Chambly has, I guess, changed his opinion on the merging of the PGA Tour and Live Golf, which that hasn't always been his stance. Clearly, he's felt like Liv should just die, but now he's more of the opinion, which I think overall the golf community, who may have been, especially the powers that be, have been kind of blind to the fact that fans are losing some fervor for the game of golf in general, at least on the professional level. And I think
yeah,
that's become the universal thought. I hate that it took 3 years for people to get here. Like, hey, y'all are arguing about dollars that are astronomical figures ultimately. And here we are having to listen to y'all, moan and be catty about it. So yeah, that's my thought. But I think that leads actually pretty good into the PGA Tour board somewhat imploding. Story came out today about Jimmy Dunn, who's the guy who put the framework agreement together between the PGA, or helped put the framework agreement together between the PGA Tour and Live Golf, resigning from the board, feeling like his position had been pretty much washed because of all the player impact. But in along with that, kind of a follow up to last week's story, is that Rory McIlroy was kind of possibly going to take his spot back on the board with Webb Simpson coming off of the board. But that was wholly rejected with certain people on the board. I think it was Jordan Spieth, Patrick Cantlay saying that proper channels needed to be followed for Rory to make his return. What do you think about all the kind of tumult and really it seems pretty helpless at this point that there hasn't been much progress in terms of any merger happening. What are your thoughts on this whole kind of blow up that's happening?
ego driven. A lot of people just don't want to relinquish certain things that should be relinquished. But again, when they're as secretive as they are with these meetings, not even knowing when they meet or what's going on, what's being described, or anything like that. I mean, it's hard to really put cement what's the issue. But again, we've always known how opinionated Rory is. We've always known how helpful he is and how willing he is to put himself out there and his opinions and his ideologies. So, that might not always be the case as far as it goes with Jordan and Pat. And that's probably why they're a little bit more stubborn about it and a little bit more salty that he's trying to get back on the board. I mean, I just feel like he was juggling a lot, and we've gone across this again before. I just felt like he had a lot going on, He's finally pretty much locked in what he's going to do, his little routines and stuff like that. So now feel like he has an allotted time for the PGA Tour board if they were to allow him to, come back and contribute to that effort or whatnot. But yeah, I just think it's very unfortunate because a lot of people's, mentals are, getting in the way of what should be pretty much, you know, open and closed case as far as it goes with this PGA and Live merger. I mean, it's really just a matter of what's the penalties going to be, what's the situation going to be as far as, coming back onto the tour, or what's going to be the stipulations for how much they need to play, essentially compared to like what happened with who was on the DP World Tour. You had to play a certain amount of events to still get that card or still be, considered a member. So, hopefully it's something like that and it's something simple to where they could be grown adults about it, and get that consolidated behind closed doors, and then we all come out as a happy family trying to get this merger done. But yeah,
Yeah.
as we said last year, so much litigation, so much fine tuning to this paperwork and these contracts and things like that as far as it goes. So we're probably still a long ass way away, so one can only hope.
It sounds defeated, Marcus.
it,
Yeah.
it's well, we talked about it. They, they came out and said that it was going to be, we're on the way, we're close. And then that was like a year and a half ago. I mean,
Yeah.
now we're just getting the runaround. And
Yeah.
again, it's a lot of money on the table, so I get it, but like give the fans something to chew on, something to nibble on. I mean, a piece of
I,
bread with some butter, an appetizer, something, bro.
You mentioned early on, like in this conversation, that meetings. We don't know when meetings are happening. Apparently, meetings aren't happening, and I think that may be the problem. Is that there's been, we knew about the one in the Bahamas that happened
Yeah,
earlier in the year, but that's really, it seems like, been about it. And I think there's two factions on the PGA Tour that are either hunkered down and not wanting the merger, which I think, from most, I think there's been quite a few sources that said Rory, is on the camp of let's merge, let's get this thing put together. I'm sure there's others
yeah,
on the PGA Tour side that want that as well, and that may be why he got blocked because it seems like Tiger, Jordan Spieth, Patrick Cantlay have their heels dug in the fact that they don't want a merge to happen or without some level of heavy penalty being incurred for that to go down. So yeah, it's interesting. It is depressing just to talk about it, knowing that really a lot of progress has not been made in the way of making this thing come back together on any level. So
yeah,
we'll keep it moving. Before we get into Rory's what's in the bag after his win at the Wells Fargo, which was dominating, um, let's talk about where his game is currently trending. Right, so he won the Zurich, in team event with Shane Lowry a few weeks ago, down in New Orleans. Goes on to have a dominating win at the Wells Fargo by 5 shots this past weekend. Has a heck of a final round. Just, you can't even say back nine, front nine. Guy was just on a heater the entire round to really separate himself. Went into that final round, really close with Xander Schauffele. Again, the questions keep getting asked about Xander Schauffele. Is he good enough to be a star to dominate? And I think the answer we keep coming to is a resounding no. There's a certain
yeah,
gear that the top players have that Xander Schauffele just unfortunately can't get to when it matters. We've seen that in the players. We saw that this past weekend. It keeps repeating itself. So these are recent memory. But what do you think about the way Rory's game is trending with these recent wins? I know we've seen Scheffler go back to back multiple, this recent memory. We've seen Nelly Corda do it on the LPGA. What do you think about
yeah.
Rory's chances to go, three starts, 3 wins in a row, and get his first major in 10 years?
Um, well, a couple things bodes well. I mean, I just feel like the confidence he has at Cool Hollow is unmatched. I mean, this is fourth win there now. I mean, we're getting into Tiger territory as far as winning at one field or winning event goes. Um, so I think Valhalla is right behind it as far as driving the golf ball, the importance of driving the golf ball in the fairway and long, or things like that. Ball striking, he's tied. He's either top 25 or tied 25th as far as goes with strokes gained putting now. Since he had that little meltdown and was really bad. So
Yeah.
we've always said it. Rory just needs to be a mediocre putter, and he'll win a lot more. So hopefully he'll continue this on. But after winning back-to-back weeks on tour and then going straight into a major, probably a lot more pressure than he would expect or want again. So who knows how he does and who knows how he fares. Yeah, unfortunately, Xander. I think to randomly, I wanted to start with it, but let's end with it on my end. I think Xander won big too early.
Hmm.
Because remember, he went FedEx Cup Championship, big win, won 10 million or whatever as a rookie or a second year, and then comes back and then wins a gold in the Olympics. Like, bro, like if I won a FedEx and a gold, I mean, I don't really have a lot more that I need to do besides win a major, win a stable event on the PGA Tour, and I'm set. I've already got a medal. I've already got 10 million in the bank. You know what I'm saying? He can be a career top five player and still be okay.
I mean,
I'm
yeah.
just ringing out these top fives now, and I'll be okay. But yeah, I think he just after that, it's a lot. Like after that honeymoon phase, I just don't think it's hard to come back down and just be like, yo, like I'm trying to get up for this Wells Fargo. I know people
I
want wins and
I
stuff
don't
like
know,
that, but I
man.
don't know.
I think that bolsters the point that I don't think mentally he has what it takes to be an elite golfer. Um, Talent wise, he's there, right? But mentally, if that's the case, right? Let's say he had too much too fast. If you can't get up for majors and to win elevated events, I think that does say something about you, right? So especially you go into the final day of an event in the lead, close to the lead, and you pretty much stay in neutral. That's a mental thing, right? Especially when you're getting chased down. Maybe there's a level of intimidation. We don't know what his body is feeling in those moments. That just seems like, I mean, we've seen Scottie Scheffler, like once he started winning, right? What does he continue to do? Keep winning. So I think that's a mental thing where Xander Schauffele is struggling with it, because you can't tell me success shouldn't be breed more success. Now, I would think the opposite, where if you have that early momentum, you've shown yourself and proven to yourself that you can win. But who knows? I mean, getting at the psychology of a professional athlete and someone, and then when does it become, what's the word I want to say? Like when you're around the lead that often but aren't able to close it out, do you get broken mentally? Does something inside of you just kind of fracture? Or is it just simply
Hmm.
about, like you said, top fives cashing bigger checks anyway, right? He's probably top 10 in earnings every year because he competes at a pretty steady level. But
Yeah.
again, those big wins aren't there. So I think it just continues to bear out more on what his career is going to be at this stage. And if we do go back into a merger situation and that happens and more talent it gets, infused back on the PGA Tour, does that affect him even further where he continues to fall down those rungs of high level elite
Not if
players.
they no,
Go ahead.
not if they remerge with Live. I mean, we thinking about three or four players. He not going that far down the rungs if
Yeah, I mean, you're
if
you're
Liv
right. I
comes
mean,
back.
Yeah, Rom, DeChambeau. Who else is super? Elite
I
in there.
wouldn't say DeChambeau. I would say, I mean, DeChambeau, he shoots a 58 and then we don't hear from him again. I just don't, I don't see it with him.
I get it.
But
I
yeah,
mean, yeah,
Rom,
yeah.
maybe the young kid, Neiman,
Joaquin Neiman.
that's
Yeah,
two. And then maybe like,
of course Kepka. Let's not forget Kepka.
yeah, and then Kepka.
Even though
And
he
then
doesn't
Kepka.
necessarily
I mean,
compete
that'd probably
in
be like
regular
the three.
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think there's so much. He's a young guy. There's a lot of career left. He intrigues me to see where his game ultimately ends up and how his career shakes out. Again, undeniable
He's working
talent.
with Chris Como now.
Hmm.
So we'll see.
We'll see.
Probably still got his dad somewhere around, but Chris Como, I
With
think, is
that,
his main swing coach now.
Dad's only worried about the dollar. Um. So that's really it. Then we'll do the what's in the bag for Rory, and then we will talk about that little video that I pulled up there that you sent out
Yeah.
to me earlier in the week. All right,
Yeah.
so pull up Rory's what's in the bag here. So love this iconic little picture from Ryder Cup handful of years ago. Just Rory at his best in the team golf situation, shushing the crowd. Oh,
Man,
uh,
that putt was
that
insane.
that that what's the word? Auto correct got me heavy on that slide. But I have to
This
edit that
guy.
bad boy out. That was bad. Anyway, so here's the bag. I always love showing it with the head covers before we actually get to the woods. I don't know if this is the dog turn the other way for Rory. So he's of course tailor-made staffer, gonna be heavy tailor-made throughout the bag. Rory's a brand guy. He knows the importance of the brand. Rocking the TaylorMade QI10 at 9, or the 9 degree version at 8.25. You can kind of see it tick down on the neck there, going towards the lower loft. Um, you know, Playing the Fujikara Ventus Black 6X. Standard offering, we're seeing that quite a bit this year. It's been fun to see deviations away from this shaft. People still winning with other shafts, even though the Fujikara
Mm-hmm.
wave has pretty much taken over.
Yep.
In the Taylor, the 3 wood and 5 wood, rocking the 15 and 18 degree with the Fujikara Ventus Black 8X and 9X here. Um, Again, just standard stuff. You know, Not rocking a hybrid, not rocking. Interesting that he's not in a long iron of any kind. I don't know. Rory's, he's amazing with the long irons. So it just kind of interesting that he doesn't play a two or 3 iron off the tee. But he's so accurate with driver and 3 wood, maybe just not necessary. And that 5 wood is more of a going into the green club. What do you think?
Probably his 5 wood and a 2 iron are interchangeable for him. So remember last year at the Scottish Open when he hit that pure 2 iron into the green at 211 back into like a 3 or 4 club win. That was it. Had a little,
Yeah.
and but it had a graphite shaft in it though, so it was like a little driving iron. Really, just depends on the situation. Because I know when he gets into the summer and he gets into a little bit more of his European swing, where he's playing link style golf, just needs to get something on the ground and let it run out and stuff like that. I think that'll be back in the bag. But when he's over here stateside, a lot of parkland courses, a lot of woodline courses, carry is
Yeah.
everything. I think that's going to be in the bag, and I think that's going to be, something he can utilize, especially coming into greens and stuff like that. But yeah, I think the only deviation is that he's playing the Venice Black instead of the Venice Blue. But very little in it. You know, very little difference in that from between the Venice Black and the Venice Blue. Pretty much the same thing. Just really, again, these players trying to find the right window to launch out of the trajectory and stuff that they want. But yeah, honestly, in the regular tour days, I mean, Rory is fine playing a 4 iron. remember, this dude hits his forehand like 240 on the fly. I mean, the dude is just he's
Yeah,
strapped, and when you're
the
hitting it
yard the
flush,
yeah yeah the yardages are kind of out of this world on the upper end of his bag. I mean, he
yeah,
said when he made the switch to the newest version of the ball, which we'll get to at the end, that he was able to gain an additional 10 yards just off the new ball.
believable.
Could be marketing, could be just they've really optimized the ball. What do you think about that claim?
Um, we've talked about that off camera too. TaylorMade makes a really good ball. It's just poorly made. It's just
Good
it's just
performance,
the
just inconsistent out of the pack, out of the dozen.
exactly. Exactly. Every time that I've played a TP5, I've been, very much surprised and very pleasantly surprised at that. The TP5 is essentially the ball that I would play, spin around the green, low spin off the tee, high launching, soft compression, everything that I would want. That's why I play the Bridgestone BXS, Tour BXS. That's also why I like the Pro V1X. It's soft enough, yet delivers the trajectory I want, delivers what I would
Yeah,
like off the tee, and still has enough spin around the green. But when I'm putting and hitting short shots and stuff like that, where I'm getting a compression and a squeeze out of it instead of a click where I'm feeling like I might be mishitting it. So for me,
yeah,
it really just, capitalizes that. And I really like the TP5. It's just the cover is so trash. I mean, I feel like you hit two or three good shots or something like that, it's a scuff. You don't even have to hit the cart path, and the cover's almost off. Like it's just a lot of stuff like that that's
mm,
just super annoying. But other than that, I mean, it could very well be true. I mean, they're making a lot of good, advancements with the golf ball right now. That's why it's even
yeah,
more agonizing that they're trying to do a ball roll back in 5 or so years. It's so stupid.
yeah. Um, TaylorMade actually kind of aggravated me because they planted like a story about Rory's making this change to his golf ball, and all it was this printing of his roars on the ball. I was just like,
Yeah,
come on now, with the clickbaity type
corny.
article. Yeah, super corny, but and then he has the thin alignment line over the TP5X logo, which is interesting because when you zoom in on it, it's very imprecise, but looks like he's just going for the thinnest possible line that he can get, just as an aid to line up his putts. But yeah, Rory's
Hmm.
been on this ball for quite a bit. You know, so you go with what works, and if they're updating it and making it better year over year, then roll with it. Let's get into his
Definitely.
irons here. So Rory is like a just a glutton for prototype irons. I feel like he's not never played anything out of the tailor-made, just kind of generic iron lineup. He's always gone
Yeah,
with
there's
some
stock stuff.
version. Yeah, he's gone with some version of a prototype. So he's put this four iron in the bag earlier this year. Probably about a month or so ago, I want to say, is when I initially saw the article on that four iron. I think it was around the time of the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Really nice club, cavity back, a lot of muscle, a lot of weighting on the bottom side of that club. Looking for some, specific characteristics. Again, this is very much in alignment with what he likes to see and probably a window that he's trying to hit. Like you said, he kills this club. So
Yeah.
his forehand is probably not necessarily the equivalent of somebody's driving iron, but he gets a heck of a lot out of it. Any comments on the four iron before I go on to the rest of the set?
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, with the bottom and perimeter weighting of the club, probably playing at about 20 degrees, but when you got so much weight on the bottom, it's still gonna launch like as if it's a 5 or 6. And Rory doesn't need any help as far as getting the ball in the air or doing
No.
anything as far as flight goes. So honestly, it probably helps him keep the ball out of the air when he needs to be honest.
Yeah,
That's
glide
a
it
really
down.
good looking club.
And then he's also rocking this prototype version of the irons. They have a lot of characteristics again of the TaylorMade. I think it's the 7TW. I forget the. I think it's P7TW, the Tiger Woods version of their irons. There's some additional kind of.
Hmm.
I want to say it's ribbing in the middle of the club. I think it's more from a design standpoint. I don't think it has any functionality. The
Yeah,
head does look
aesthetics.
slight. Yeah, it looks slightly more compact than the Tiger Woods iron, and we're talking
Hmm.
very slight. It's just a little more rounded on the toe than that other version. What do you think about this, man? Again, very much set up for Rory. Um, I don't know if there's much to say about a custom blade, but it is what it is.
I mean, I like it. I mean, honestly, it really pulls why a lot of people stick with TaylorMade or go to TaylorMade. The personalization is there. If you're a top-notch player, you're most likely getting your own irons or some type of resemblance of that. I mean, you gotta look at Colin Morikawa. Colin Morikawa has the seven M Collins or something like that. He has his own prototype iron set as well. It's the same type deal. You put your input in, you feed into what you've played your whole life and what you like to see down by the ball, and they're going to present it for you. And then they're going to put your name on it. So for me, as far as, being a brand guy, I could see why. I could see why. They doing everything I want them to do, and then they're putting my name on it. So, I mean, I love that. And I think if he's giving them the right specs, which he should be, because nothing's really changing from his stature and everything like that, then they should be able to present a good club for him and be able to have him sets of irons to go through the set, because they don't never really play the same irons or wedges from week to week. So yeah, I think this is a really good look for TaylorMade and for Rory. So when it's all said and done, maybe he'll be able to, branch off just like a Tiger would. And, maybe
Yeah.
not create his own clothing company, but maybe start his own line of like irons or wedges or something like that. There's always a niche for something like that in the game. And if you're coming and your standpoint is, I was a former player, I know how these things go, and I've also done the research on my tech. This is why I'm able to put out a Rory golf club. This is what
Yeah.
more McIlroy golf looks like, and this is the irons that we play at McIlroy golf. So I think it could be a good look for him right now
You
and
see a
down the line.
marketing opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as a brand guy,
All
this is a
right.
perfect opportunity.
Yeah, we know Rory's about his coin. Let's get into these wedges here. So mainly rocking the TaylorMade MG4 lineup in the 46 in his pitching wedge, the 50,
Hmm.
and then the 54, and then the TaylorMade, excuse me, the Titleist Velky Wedge Works the at a 59, 58 bent to 59, and then playing the Project X 6.5. That's also another thing. Let me jump back really quick to the iron. So Project X guy, you're not seeing that really. I mean, they had their moment in the sun where they were pretty much in like a lot of pros bags, and then you know True Temper always kind of in the perimeter of things, and then KBS had its run as well, but you don't see a lot of Project X shafts, and so Rory's keeping that in both the full irons as well as the wedges. What are your thoughts on the shaft choice?
I've never really played the Project X, so don't really know how it really feels or presents. But I know that the people that do play them swear by them, though. I mean, yeah, I mean, like you can't get them
when
out
you
of
were
it.
When you were fitting, did you put a lot of people into this shaft or did it fit a lot of amateur? Do you think this is really a tailored for pros type of shaft, or do you think there's legitimate amateurs that can utilize this shaft and find use, or just their lineup per se, not necessarily this particular shaft?
I mean, I think a lot of players could play that shaft. I just think it's a little bit. I mean, to me, it presents kind of like a true temper. The S300s that we used to play, to me, I just felt like it was a little bit too stiff for like the modern player. Not enough give in the stiff, but also too bendy in the regular. I honestly was trying to put people in the Nippon shaft and the Modus shaft before it really had its little, little popularity. Because I felt like their 115-gram shaft in stiff was a very good shaft for a lot of people in the neighborhood. Because I mean, it's a stiffer shaft, but yet it's lighter, so you can feel like you can swing it hard. You don't necessarily
Mm,
have to guide the club. You can still present enough club head speed to get it to do what you would like. So that's really what I was trying to gravitate towards. I wasn't even really a KBS head until Michael really was like, I play these C tapers, you should try them out. It was a nice little
mm-hmm.
window, a little bit too heavy for me, a little bit too hard. So I went and got myself fitted, and then I got the money tapers, and I got those in 120. Probably could have did 125 thinking about it now, but 120 is going to be great, and I'll find a way to make it present a little bit heavier than as
Yeah.
presented. But
I
yeah,
I do want to say this one
Project
thing.
X is a good
I
job.
The Project X, and I don't know if this has always been the case or if they were bought out or had always been part of True Temper, but they actually are a True Temper product at this point. Again,
Hmm.
I probably need to go back and do a little bit of research before the comment section trolls or goblins come for us with corrections, but I just wanted to make that point that True Temper does produce the Project X shaft. So I'd seen that a while back. One other thing I found interesting, and I was very intentional about presenting this particular angle of that 59 is that grind on the bottom of that wedge. That is a clearly a personalized grind, but you often don't see the sole of the club that flat. What are your thoughts on that, man? I think that's very pronounced in the way that that club has been ground down.
Yeah, I mean that's for all the shots around the green, essentially. Because, I mean, these guys don't need a 54 to come out of the bunker with. They don't need a 56. They're going to play their 58 or their 60 and be able to play the high floaty spinner. They're going to be able to chunk it a little bit and still have it come out soft and let it run out, do a chunk release and stuff like that. So I just think the K grind in itself is one of the most versatile grinds through Titleist Voki anyways as it is. So I think that's what that's for. And I think, with him playing a very personalized style as far as the short game goes, that's probably what allowed him to hit that crazy shot on the Ryder Cup last year. That
Mm,
that
that spinny
flop
checker. Yeah.
spin, yeah. So I think personalization is the best. And I think he knows himself so well that he knows that he doesn't really need a lot of bounce, or especially when he's using that club, the turf interaction is perfect for him. So yeah, I think that's a really good match.
Yeah. And then we'll move into the putter. We've already hit the ball. So, um, you know, TaylorMade Spider Tour X3 with the I think you like this grip, the Super Stokes Energy Pistol Tour grip. Um, I mean, he's been able to sell Scottie Scheffler on this particular putter. So,
Yeah,
week to week, we're seeing the TaylorMade Spider in bags. We're seeing mallets become a lot more popular on the PGA Tour, more than they ever have. Again, why would you give up help, especially in the area of the game that makes you the money? Putting is where the money's made on the PGA Tour. Clearly, Rory has struggled with putting for several years, but I think since he's gone to the Spider, we've seen the most consistent version of Rory on the greens. Any
yeah.
additional insight here?
Um, I I honestly think I like the way it presents because it gives you what it's trying to do immediately. It's got the long alignment line down the middle. It's got the
Mm-hmm.
gaps in the openings for you to let you know that these areas are hollowed out. We have a lot of perimeter weighting, so you see it on the heel and the toe, and then the meat is in the middle of the club where you're going to be hitting it out of a lot anyway. So I
Yeah.
think for a pro and players of his stature, I think this is the best looking putter that's going to provide help and forgiveness that they'll have. So, Yeah, I definitely think it's a good look. And to me, I could never do it. But I love it. I love the look of it in your hand too. But yeah, I love the pistol grip. I play the Super Stroke pistol tour and everything besides one club, and I will be going back to that in that club as well. It's just what I'm most familiar with. Provides me
Yeah.
the most reception in my hands, and I know I can play different grips. Like I can go interlock putting grip and it still feel good, just as good as if I were doing the reverse in a lap with the forefinger down the down the shaft. So I definitely feel like to me it's the best filling shaft. I mean
Yeah.
grip. I don't have the Zenergy one. That is it's in itself. The Zenergy line is new, but I do have the Pistol
Okay.
Tour Super Stroke and I love it. So I
Yeah.
think
I
it's
can't.
just a feel thing as well. It's
I,
like
I'm
a
probably
certain
wrong.
tackiness or something to it.
Yeah, I'm probably wrong, but I think one of the ones we did earlier in the year, I want to say it was Jake Knapp that also kind of rocked this same grip, with the
Hmm.
same putter, but she had been tinkering quite a bit. So, um, it's definitely catching on online. The one thing that I probably want to put some more thought into and research is looking at the different neck options that are available to putters these days. This one caught my eye just because of the kind of forward leaning, where it looks like he's trying to keep the shaft ahead of the head of the putter, maybe get a little bit of shaft lean on it. It was just an interesting look, and you don't necessarily see this version of neck on putters very often. What are your thoughts on that?
That is my favorite neck. I like the
Okay.
seamless look that looks like it's going straight into it. This is what you would call like a single bend, I'm pretty sure. I mean, a lot of players play the plumber's neck, which is that hard cutoff and it goes
Yeah.
straight down to you. So it looks pretty much like it's offset, like it's off, pretty much off kilter. So for me, I feel like this is a little bit more streamlined into you, still playing like a little bit forward with the shaft lean, just so you're hitting it a little bit on the down. Because remember, I mean, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but putters have lofts too, and you can play
Yep.
those certain lofts. So me personally, I play a 4 degree putter. I have mine a little bit stronger lofted and a little bit heavier. Just fits my game a little bit better as far as my backswing and everything like that. But I mean, a lot of players with the mallet usually play like either a double bend, which is a little bit more elongated, but it's pretty much the same conclusion as a plumber's neck. It's essentially higher up on the shaft, out of the way of your visual cues, so that you're still just looking down at the putter and you'll still have that forward shaft lean automatically input into that putter head. So
Yeah.
you're right as far as exclusivity goes to, as far as like mallets with this shaft head and shaft input into the putter head, but that's amongst more premier players and more
Yeah.
elite players. That's a
Yeah.
very a common neck.
Cool. All right. So that's Rory's what's in the bag. Appreciate that. Um, so the last little section we're gonna do is a video that Marcus sent me earlier on in the week, from Instagram, and it's kind of building your perfect player. Um, just for time purposes, because the Mavericks are coming on in about 45 minutes, and I don't want to miss a second of that. We're gonna hit this rapid fire, so you got to keep it concise. We'll go back and forth on driver, irons, wedges, short game or whatever, and then putting. So rapid fire, and then we'll wrap it. So I'll put this up, and then we'll freeze it. So you can build one perfect golfer. Who are you choosing? So driver, and we can't duplicate. So you and if we'll go back and forth. So you get the first choice on driver. Who would you pick?
Rory.
Rory. Okay. Mine, just because of I've gained a new appreciation for him in the Masters, is Scottie Scheffler.
Mm, I like that. I like that. That's out of the blue.
Yeah,
but he ain't missing
accurate,
no fairways, so
accurate.
I like it.
He's not.
Right,
He's not.
right. He ain't not missing no fairways.
So I'll get
Okay,
irons
you're
here
iron
first.
player.
Um, we talked about him earlier. Even though Scotty right now is on a whole nother level, I would take Xander Schauffele's iron game. Really appreciate his ability to. I think he plays smart with his irons. I think he aims for a lot of center of greens. So I will take Xander Schauffele with the irons.
Are we talking prime iron, like prime at their best?
We're
Because if we're
talking
talking at
current,
their best,
current
oh,
day. Because I
thank
know
you.
you take the all time would be Tiger, but we're going current day right now.
Right. Okay. I'm glad you clarified. Let's see. You know what? The dude moves it both ways. I know he hasn't really made a name for himself as of late. He's kind of on the downtrod, but Jay Knapp really, fires those irons in at a really, really cool clip. So I like what he's got going on there.
Okay,
Um, let's see,
short game.
short game. I don't know, man. I just think the way he thinks the game through on this is crazy, and you can't really put anybody in front of him. I gotta go Speed. I know
Hmm.
he ain't winning, but Speed short game. I mean, just think about his crazy grip, that neutral hand, the right strong hand. He doing a lot of stuff that we don't see, and he's got
Yeah.
all the SM10s in his bag. Just FYI, pointing at you, right? He's
Oh.
got all the SM10s in his bag, and he's loving them. So,
Okay.
what about you?
Oh man, this one's tough because I have the kind of the same name floating in my head for both the putting and the short game. I already went with Scheffler, and he's also top of the. You can't go with Scheffler for everything, but his short game is incredible.
Yeah, his short game
Jesus.
is one of one too. It's the same thing. I mean, you got to go back to that chip he had on the Masters 2 years ago, where he hits it into the bank on number three, short sighted, and still catches the skim, like spins, checks, and then rolls in like a putt. I mean, bro was trying to get up and down for bogey and ends up making a birdie. So yeah, dude is unreal as far as short game goes.
Okay. I'm just gonna have to pull the trigger. Um, and I'll clean. I'm gonna go with Patrick Cantlay. I do like his short game. I feel like he's a better putter than his overall short game, but he has
Right.
a lot of close chips and chip ins as well. So I'm gonna go with Patrick Cantlay on the short game.
All right, and then putting.
Oh man, this is tough. And we can't. I, Spieth is also, even though he's not at the top of his game right now, is pretty incredible. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Putter. I'm gonna pass for now. Who you got on putting? Who would you put out there? I don't know.
Well, it leads honestly into why we're cutting it. While we're pretty concise. The dude is also a hooper. They say the boy is a sniper on the basketball court. We're gonna go with Denny McCarthy on this one for the
Oh
putter.
man, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Master roller, master hooper. They say.
That's the dark horse, man.
Right.
That's a nice pick. Oh Jesus.
I mean, you could
I
think
don't
about
know.
like players like Adam Shank. Like Adam Shank
I'm
really had a nice little year last year.
look, bro. If this was
I'll let you. I'll allow you to double up. You can
I'm
go
gonna
Scotty Putter.
no, I'm gonna go with my pick. I know who I'm gonna pick, but I'm gonna give a. If we were talking end of last year, I would have went with Lucas Glover. The man was killing
Oh
it with the
yeah,
broomstick.
yeah.
He was
Bro was
killing it with
rolling
the
it with the
broomstick.
sweeper. He was.
But honestly, you mentioned you already went with Jake Knapp. Who was the other name that I was just thinking about? Who's been rolling the rock lately? I'm garbage. I'm just gonna go with Lucas Glover. The other name that I had just fell out of my head, but he's been on a
Maybe
run,
this
and
is some.
then
Yeah, maybe this is
my
something we
backup
can
was Jake
reconvene.
Knapp.
Let's. we could revisit this in a month or so. We can,
I know.
let's
Get a
do
little
some
more
let's do
season.
some
Get a little
research.
more season.
Yeah, yeah, let's look through it a little bit more and see what we got. But not too bad a name right now. Not too
He
bad a
said.
name right now.
He said Denny McCarthy. That's a good. That's a good pick, honestly. Um, yeah, he was rolling the rock incredibly at the Valero a few weeks ago.
Hmm.
Just kind of on a heater, no doubt. So, all right, bro. Mavs up 2-1. Preparing to take a dominating lead in the NBA playoffs. Do we get the win?
Uh, if we get a Luca or Kyrie masterclass, don't even need both of them. One of them, I think we put it away.
It's at home too,
PJ
so
Wash PJ Washington doesn't have PJ Washington is gonna have another good game. He's not scoring in the 20s though. But
no. But I like his
if Luca
grittiness.
or Kyrie
He
can get
gets
to
his
exactly,
yeah.
we're a lot tougher now. We're a lot tougher. We got size. We got defense. And a lot of people try to disrespect Luca. And don't get me wrong, he a little bit lazy. Quarters 1 through 3. But just like he proved in the Clipper series, when it comes down to it, bro can clamp up when it's needed. He'll pull out that extra big step slide. He'll principles of verticality. He gonna grab some boards. You got At the end of the day, he's 6'8", 6'9". He gonna be on the
Yeah.
boards. He gonna be down there in the mug. So, shout out to Luca for always doing and again, not having the best series, but making winning plays.
Yeah.
Making winning plays. 22,
Yeah.
15, and 7. That's a pretty good stat line. And
Yeah, I
I
think he
think the only reason
struggled.
why we
He figured it out after game one. Game one was
yeah,
a struggle bus, but yeah.
stop forcing the three, get to the midi. Lou Dort gonna try to bully you the whole game anyways. Get to your spots. Cause you definitely
Yep.
gonna get to them. You know how to. Do your little spot swipe through, or do your fake left with the tween to the right. Come on. Listen, I
All right.
I didn't doubt. I didn't doubt. You was the one that said OKC. I said
It ain't
Dallas was gonna
over.
win.
I mean, the OKC wins tonight. We're back in the same conversation again, but
That's
we'll
true.
see
That's
how
a three.
we'll see, bro. And then they're going back home. So, um, yeah. Shout
We
out
took one
PJ
on
champion.
OKC already.
Yeah, I know. But again, if they win on our home turf, we call it even. Um,
True.
PJ Championship this week. We'll be back on our Sunday grind. Looking forward to an exciting tournament. Valhalla looks amazing on TV, presents
So
incredibly
pure.
well. Let's hope that, I don't know. I have memories of watching Rory win there live in 2014, hitting that incredible wood into that green. Um, let's see if he can kind of drudge up the memories and get his first one in 10 years. We'll be back at it
Yeah.
on Sunday. Bitter Bros Golf Show. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
All right, y'all. Holler at you.